here. She was right here.
Dillon, we have to go!
Summer?
I'm here, Dillon. I'm with you.
Dillon!
Take my hand!
The story of Dillon is one of heartbreak and longing. Longing for what his life once was and what was taken from him. We see that Dillon was once in the hands of Venjix with nothing but a pocket watch and his sister, who was blind. At some point, his sister gets dragged away by grinders to be experimented on, leaving him alone, unaware of her whereabouts. These dreams come to Dillon sporadically, as they were once memories violently stolen away. During a battle, Dillon finds a monster who claims to have taken his memories per the request of Venjix. Now he's again met with the decision of being a Power Ranger and defending the world from harm by destroying the attack bot, or leaving him alive to keep those lost memories intact. Dr. K makes the decision to take Dillon offline for the time being, a decision proving unsuccessful. This is where we see the extent of what Venjix must have done to Dillon while he'd been held, as he manages to continuously refuse the shutdown and even powers up beyond it. His growing frustration brings him to lead in taking out the attack bot for good.
Any nice dreams?
No.
At some point during the fight, Dillon was hit in the arm with a signal from the attack bot that reacted to the dormant virus laying within him. When Dr. K realizes this, she relays that this virus has started growing and at some point could now fully envelop him. A lot is happening with Dillon, and we're getting a good string of episodes using his past as a focus point, as opposed to little bits and pieces that we've been used to. We're now starting to get battle interactions between both Dillon and Tenaya 7, reveling at each other's strengths, a human and a machine.
For a human, you're pretty fast.
For a robot, you're pretty human.
Don't ever call me that again!
With Tenaya managing to escape unscathed, the Rangers lose in more ways than one, as the virus inside Dillon is seemingly taking its hold, as Dillon begins shutting down the city's shields and tearing the command center apart. On another note, I can't stand the show continuing this Summer is attracted to both Scott and Dillon thing, when clearly the series is leaning towards Summer and Dillon, and Scott hasn't shown any interest in Summer like that, like all that much.
Any nice dreams?
I'm having one right now.
Good night. Kiss.
Like even Dr. K tried to get in on it at one point, but the show, and I can assume nearly everyone watching, wants it to be Dillon, so the whole is it not is a little tiring. The Rangers do the best they can to stop Dillon. It turns out there was a device planted on him during the fight. While this device was plucked once found, it accelerated the virus inside. In comes the elaborate plan, surprisingly led by Ziggy. The idea is to find the attack bot that planted the device to get its circuit board and download its program to possibly slow down the virus's takeover. They'll lower the shields, which will allow Venjix to send the army, including the attack bot they're looking for. This is so amazing to me, as it demonstrates the strength of their relationship as a team of Power Rangers. Like right now, it isn't necessarily about defending the entire world, but more so one of their own. Not wanting the shields lowered because of himself, Dillon plans to run away, and we get this really nice back and forth between him and Scott. Scott asserts himself as leader, Dillon drains the gas out of Scott's tank, and somehow Scott manages to cuff himself to Dillon while they're both sitting in the car. Now they have to go out and fight to prove their trust in each other. It's cute and a nice break of pace from the intense nature of Dillon's history. He's part machine, but he's got loads of heart. This is something that truly was needed to give him that wake-up call. Break the chains blocking your heart and accept that there are people around that care for you.
RBM! Get in gear! You have something I need!
The Rangers retrieve the circuit board, but while inspecting it, the virus takes control of Dillon, and they can't contain it without the code that was once needed to program Project Venjix, and this is where the truth comes out.
I know it because I wrote it. Everything that's happened, everything you've all been through, it's all my fault.
Bro, we are getting some lore, dude. It's all coming together now. I sure hope nobody comes in and brings everything to a screeching halt. We soon learn that the pocket watch Dillon carries plays a tune. He's able to place himself back to Venjix's base, with Summer in his head walking him through it. He sees a location called Kenmore in Omega City, a place evacuated before the Venjix attack on Earth. Due to how far outside the dome this city is, Scott stands up to his father defending his decision to head out there with his team, and actually wins this argument. They trek out in the go-onger van.
Go-onger, the ground outdoor operational networked general purpose explorational rover.
This is my favorite section of the series because it illustrates just how tight this team is. We're literally going on a road trip in an apocalyptic world with every ranger just in the van having to put up with each other.
As if you wouldn't learn how to open a bag.
They're on limited power as they embark, and them being stuck in this stupid van together is exactly as funny as you would imagine.
Where did they come from?
Ghosts, maybe.
How can you go from this to ghosts? We let this guy dry.
Oh, what? You got...
As they run into Venjix, who's plugged himself into a physical vessel, Dillon recognizes him and parts of his memory begin flowing back. They use their only Megazord configuration on him and get saved by Ranger Series Gold and Silver out of nowhere, who vanish shortly after. When arriving in Omega City, it's found that the vision of Kenmore was a trap implanted from the chip placed in Dillon earlier. They're led into another fight and end up leaving with nothing having been answered. Remember how I said I hope things don't come to a screeching halt? Jim and Gemma, RPM Series Gold and Silver, come in during this road trip and save the Rangers from different ambushes. After finding out the memories of the city Kenmore were fake and reaching a dead end, Jim and Gemma lift the Rangers back to the dome in their Zords, and take the focus of the show for a bit. And it's so weird, the shift that happens, because of just how hard they went in on Dillon and his story being told, to now just focus solely on Gold and Silver.
Gonna go out there and
Blow it up, God!
It makes sense, being that they just got introduced and they need their time in the sun. It's just the timing of it that kind of messed with things. It also made writing this video take an extra month longer than it was originally supposed to. However, to the writing's credit, despite small setbacks, their introduction did help push Dillon's story further through the hole. Jim and Gemma remember a factory they were forced to work in where Venjix turned human prisoners into grinders. Yes, the story of RPM is still absurdly dark, don't ever forget that. They know of the tune that plays from Dillon's pocket watch, as a girl who was trapped there would hum it all the time. Also, this girl was blind.
She was
inhibited in the
visual arena.
What does that mean? Was she ugly or something?
She had a severe case.
After hearing that the pocket watch belonged to her brother, Dillon absolutely erupts. This episode is crazy because it leads to things so much crazier. Dillon and Ziggy head to the factory and Summer follows them there. Dillon recognizes it from his memories and exactly where his sister was taken.
It was here. She was right here.
Dillon, we have to go!
They have to make it out as they get outnumbered by grinders, but we find out that Venjix is building a doomsday machine there that can wipe out the dome and everyone in it. Oh my gosh, dude. The Rangers with General Truman infiltrate the factory again, but all together this time, ready to detonate, and by the time the machine is ready to launch, Summer gives Dillon the detonator, allowing him the choice of either detonating the factory for good or letting the machine exit while allotting himself time to find his sister amongst the area. A difficult decision, he mashes the button and they run out.
Dillon!
And he doesn't quit.
As expected, Dillon makes his way back into the burning factory with Summer right behind him. Now, while the Rangers were inside, Jim and Gemma were able to reprogram the Doomsday Machine, with Dr. K finishing the job after its exit. It now transforms into the Whale Zord. I only mention this because, well, I mean, it's important, but also Dillon and Summer are in this burning factory, which, again, is burning, but they have this soap opera drama, like, romantic interaction, and the Whale Zord just drops a big burst of water on it and they get drenched. I know somebody was happy this scene got filmed. I don't know who wrote this, but, like, they were they wanted this to happen. At the end of the day, they do find a memento of Dillon's sister in the rubble. A lot of stuff happened in between this and the next developments in their story. Venjix's army raids the abandoned Alphabet Soup base and find things.
It's a chicken base of human sustenance containing pasta that's been pressed into the letters of the Latin
The
alphabet.
military does the same and finds the laptop that Dr. K released Venjix on and tries to arrest her for it, but she's actually a bunch of holograms running around and snuck into the general's chair. Like, what? What? Dillon figures out how to use the key found in the rubble from before, and when used in the pocket watch, it plays The Farmer in the Dell, the same tune that Tenaya 7 has whistled all throughout the show. Dillon rushes outside the dome, where Tenaya finds him and hears the other music the pocket watch makes. He tells her the truth about what happened to her, and this scene is goated.
You're human, Tenaya.
I am Generation 7 robotic technology.
Maybe, maybe not.
She's so far gone, but not far gone enough to keep her human side from showing. She's scared and even starts bleeding. This is an instance of the entire show leading up to a big moment and the payoff being oh so worth it. The entire time was just wondering when they would both find out and if they would, and with the production meddling behind the scenes, it was never quite sure if they would ever close the hole as tight as they came. Tenaya scans herself at Venjix's base, which reveals the truth of who she really is, along with Dillon. Instead of accepting the past, she decides to rid of her brother for good in order to supposedly keep the memories from flooding back. During a fight, the Rangers, not knowing of the situation, mistakenly blast Dillon, who is trying to protect Tenaya. She's flung over a bridge, and instead of letting herself fall to be repaired later as the robotic soldier she is, she allows Dillon to help her back up.
Because she's my sister.
Tenaya pulls up to the command center with a desire to help take out Venjix, and while doubt prevails as expected, she and Dillon still make their way to Venjix's base to get codes from the inside to prevent a future attack. Tenaya pretends to capture Dillon while sliding him the codes she said she would and letting him out with no one suspecting. Also, this all happened while Dillon came in without his morpher to avoid detection. Now, here's where things get annoying. They carry out the plan and take out a Venjix attack bot. But then Tenaya gets kidnapped by the Venjix general Kilobyte, and he reprograms her. Oh, bro, you gotta be kidding me. We just finished the plot point just for it to be rewound like a VHS tape.
I am Tenaya 15, attack bot.
Sorry.
The entire rest of the show, as the end games are playing out, I'm just patiently waiting and watching for their finale to their story. Venjix is on a new vessel, the virus inside Dillon reaches 51% control, and now we're finding out that half the dome was infected with the virus a long time ago. If it sounds like I'm getting into the full end of the series, it's because I am. That's literally how long it takes for Dillon and Tenaya's story to wrap up. Venjix takes over, trashing the command center and raiding the military base. In the meantime, Dillon makes his way in to snag the antidote for the Venjix virus that Dr. K was whipping up, managing to take an extra one for him and his sister. Also, I don't think I've mentioned it yet in this video specifically, but the acting is absolutely crazy. Venjix deletes the Zords one by one and even deletes both Gem and Gemma.
They're gone.
I'm sorry.
You will never be able to convince me that there was a Rangers series better written nor acted than RPM. I'm sorry. I don't care how long they was in the show. Kilobyte sets his next deletion on Tenaya until Dillon comes in just at the right time, using the antidote on her before getting blasted.
Then check out this machine!
This bazooka is the funniest thing in the world to me because this is like the third time they bursted in with it all together just out of nowhere and almost killed someone.
Your memory's with you.
Road blaster!
Dillon, get down!
Road blaster! Fire! Then check out this machine!
Tenaya, Scott, Summer, and Flynn plan to ambush Venjix, with Tenaya uploading a virus to fight Venjix itself. In a series built with new characters and Rangers piling up as a unit again and again, it's so fitting to end things not only with the conclusion of a plotline held between a villain and her siblings since the start, but with the original three holding their own. Dillon runs in to save Tenaya after Venjix starts destroying the military base, and in the final hour, Dr. K is able to restore Gem and Gemma, who take out the military base entirely to fall on Venjix, with Dillon and Tenaya still inside. They make it out with emergency shoots and the entire team is reunited. The ending of RPM is incredible. Venjix is gone, Scott is asked to lead the Eagle Squadron, and Dillon is set to make up lost time with his sister Tenaya. RPM was an adventure like no other, with stories written to invoke only the strongest of emotions. Dillon and Tanaya's story ended in such a satisfying way after everything the show had led us through. I still wish, however, that she was given the chance to Ranger up, even if just for a few minutes near the end. Lots of twists and turns, heartbreak, and overcoming the odds. I loved seeing the bond between Rangers still intact, Ziggy and Dillon, Dr. K and Ziggy being an item in the end, everyone being content with the world having been taken care of. Power Rangers RPM is a show that knows what its purpose is despite production issues behind the scenes. What was brought forth from beginning to end made for an unforgettable ride, even managing to still leave off on a cliffhanger. Disney's final hurrah with Power Rangers went out in the strongest way it possibly could, throwing everything at the wall, money included, deciding to film 90% of the show itself as opposed to relying on Super Sentai footage. To this day, I still regard RPM as the best written series of Power Rangers we've ever gotten. Ranger Operator Series Black, Power Rangers RPM. Gogeta Super, Amanda, Austin, Brandon, Chaco, Daniel, Emilia, Grace, Helen, Ian, Julia, Luke, Matthew, Quirky Girl,